Krishnamurti, in dialogue with Dr. Allan W. Anderson.
So why do we hesitate? That's what comes to what you're saying. Why do we not take the plunge? That's what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking, yes.
Why is it always coming to the brink and withdrawing, running away? Why don't we see the thing as is and act? Is it part of our education that has cultivated function? Enormous function. We give tremendous importance to function. As an engineer, as a professor, as a doctor, and so on, so on. Functioning in a particular technique. And we have never cultivated or encouraged or inquired into what is intelligence. Where there is intelligence, there won't be this hesitation. There is action. I mean, when one is very sensitive, you act. That sensitivity is intelligence. Now, in education, as I've observed it both here and in India and other parts of the world, education is merely the training the mind to function to the dictates of society. So many engineers are wanted. So many doctors are wanted. If you get into a profession where there are few, you might make more money.
You have to watch out for the glut.
Glut. Yeah, don't become a too scientific. There are enough science, or whatever it is.
Oh dear, yes.
So we are encouraged and trained to function in the field of activity as functions, careers. Now, we hesitate to enter or plunge into something that demands all your attention.
Yes.
Not fragmentary, all your attention. Because we don't know what to measure. We know how to measure function. Here we have no measure. Therefore I depend. Therefore I won't reason here, because I don't know how to reason. I don't say to a man who says, I know. I say, what do you know? You only know something that's gone, finished, dead. You can't say, I know something that's living. And so gradually, as I see it, the mind becomes dull, restless. Its curiosity is only in the direction of functioning. And not, it has no capacity to inquire. To inquire, you must have freedom first. I can't inquire otherwise. If I come to inquire to something which I have to inquire about, if I have prejudices, I can't inquire. If I have conclusions about that, I can't inquire. Therefore, there must be freedom to inquire. And that is denied. Because I've laid, society and culture laid tremendous importance on function. And function has its own status.
Oh yes, yes. It's exalted ultimately into process.
Yeah, into a status.
Right.
So status matters much more than function. And so I live in that field, live in that structure, and if I want to inquire into religion, what is God, what is immortality, what is beauty, I can't do it. I'll depend on an authority. And so I have no basis for reasoning. You follow, sir? In this vast field of religion. So, it is partly the fault of our education, partly our incapacity to look at anything objectively. Our incapacity to look at a tree without all the rigmarole, knowledge, screen, blocks that prevents me from looking at the tree. I never look at my wife, if I have a wife or a girl, whatever. I never look. I look at her or him through the image I have about her, him or her. So the image is the dead thing. So I never look at a living thing. I never look at nature with all the marvel of it, the beauty of it, the shape, the loveliness of it. But I'm always translating it, trying to paint it, write about it, or enjoy it. You follow? So, from that arises the question, why do human beings accept authority, obey? Is it because they have been trained in the field of function, where you must obey to learn? You follow? You can't.
Oh yes. No, it has its own laws built in.
It has its own disciplines.
Exactly.
It has its own laws, its own ways. Because I have been trained that way, I bring that over here into the field of religion, to the field of something that demands freedom. Freedom, not at the end, right from the beginning. Mind must be free from authority from the beginning. If I want to find out what is God, not I believe in God, that's no meaning. If there is God, if there is no God, I really want to find out. I am terribly serious. And if I am really serious, I am really concerned to the understanding, learning about God, if there is God, I must push aside completely all the beliefs, all the structure, all the churches, all the priests, all the books, all the things that thought has put together about religion. You follow?
Yes, I do. I've been thinking very hard about your word intelligence and the word truth in relation to what you've been saying. And the passage from the gospel came to my mind, which would end up, I think, with a very different exegesis in terms of what you've been saying if one applied what you've been pointing to this text. When he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth is called a spirit here. And in the very same St. John's Gospel, God is also called spirit. Radical act. Not this spirit over there, out there, somewhere that I've projected. If one takes seriously, the terrible thing is that it hasn't been taken seriously.
Because we are not allowed to be serious, sir.
That we can't even be serious about the thing that is claimed we must be the most serious about.
That's just it.
Yes, I know. I know what you mean.
We are not serious about our children. We don't feel responsible for them. Right through life. Only when they are till they are 4, 5, 6, we are responsible. You know, after that they can do what they want. So, freedom and authority cannot possibly exist. Freedom and intelligence go together. And intelligence has its own innate, natural, easy discipline. Discipline in the sense of not of suppression, control, imitation, all that, but discipline which is the act of learning all the time.
Inattention.
So that means, can the mind put aside totally all the structure of thought with regard to religion? It can't put away the function of thought in the field of knowledge. That's what I've understood, that's very clear. But here there is something I don't know, we don't know. You follow, sir? We pretend we know. When the man says there is Jesus is Savior or whatever, it is a pretension. It is saying, I know and you don't know. What do you know in the name of heaven? You know nothing. You just repeat what you have learned for somebody else. So can the mind, in the field of religion, which is the most, because religion is, as we said at the beginning, the gathering of all energy in that quality of attention. And it is that quality of attention that regenerates man. That brings about real transformation in man with regard to his conduct, his behavior, his whole way of relationship. Religion is that factor, not all this foolery that's going on. Now, to inquire, mind must put aside all the structure of thought built around that word.
Yes, I do.
Can one do it? If not, we are pretending, talking about God, no God, yes God, for all that nonsense that is going on. So that's the first question. Can the mind be free of the authority of another? However great, however sublime, however divine or no divine. You follow?
And because an act is required in order to answer this question,
Absolutely.
the individual must do this on his own.
Otherwise he merely lives in a routine of function, which he has, which he's still doing, and therefore he escapes into all these circuses, which he calls religion. So look at it this way, if I may suggest. If I had a class, I wouldn't talk about the book first. That's a freedom. You are second-hand people. Don't pretend you are not. You are second-hand, sloppy, shoddy people. And you are trying to find something that is original. God is, the reality is original. It's not colored by all the priests in the world. It's original. Therefore, you must have an original mind, which means a free mind. Not an original painting, a new picture, a new this, that's all Tommy Rod. But a free mind. A free mind that can function in the field of knowledge, and a free mind that can look, observe, learn. Now, how do you help another, or is it not possible to be free? You know? Look, I never belong to anything. I'm no church or no belief, no all that. A man who really wants to find out if there is eternal, the nameless, something beyond all thought, he must naturally set aside everything built on thought. The savior, the masters, the gurus, the knowledge, all that must. Are there people to do that? Will anybody undertake that journey? Or you say, well, you tell me all about it, old boy. I'll sit comfortably, and then you tell me.
Yes, that's what goes on.
I say, I won't describe that. I won't tell you a thing about it. That's to put it into words is to destroy it. So, let us see, if you cannot be free, what are you frightened about? Frightened of authority, frightened of going wrong, but you are completely wrong the way you live. Completely stupid the way you are carrying on. There's no meaning. You follow, sir? Deny the spiritual authority of every kind. Because what are you frightened of? Going wrong spiritually? They are wrong, not you are wrong, because you are just learning. They are the established in the unrighteousness.
It's beautiful. Yes.
And so why do you follow them? Why do you accept them? They are degenerate. And can you be free from all that? So that your mind, through meditation, which we'll discuss perhaps another time, what it means to be free, what it means to wipe away all the things that people have put on you. You understand? So that you are innocent. Your mind is never hurt, is incapable of being hurt. That is what innocency means. And from that, inquire, let's take a journey from there. You follow, sir? From this sense of negation of everything that thought has put together. Because thought is time. Thought is matter. And if you are living in the field of thought, there will be never freedom. You are living in the past. You may think you are living in the present, but actually you are living in the past when thought is in operation. Because thought is memory, responsive memory, knowledge, experience, stored up in the brain. And that knowledge, experience is the expression of thought. Unless you understand that and know the limitation of thought, you can't enter into the field of that which you call religion. You follow, sir? Unless this is told, repeated, shown to them, they can talk endlessly about books. This comes first. Then you can read the books.
Yes.
So the Buddha never read a book. He listened, watched, looked, observed, fasted, say all that's rubbish and threw it out. Students rush from one class to the other. Because the period is short, run. From mathematics to geography, from geography to history, chemistry, biology, run. And if I was one of the professors, teachers, I'd say, look, sit down, be quiet for 5 minutes, be quiet. Look out of the window if you want to, see the beauty of light of the water or the leaf and look at that, this and that, but be quiet.
We teach in classes that don't have windows now.
Of course, naturally.
Yes, I was just being facetious.
Of course, sir.
But not only facetious, it's a horror.
Horror, that's what.
Yes,
You
go
are
ahead.
trained to be functional. You follow, sir?
I know.
Don't look at anything else, but be monkeys. And my child is brought up that way.
Yes.
It is appalling.
The classroom's a tomb. Yes.
So I say, sit quiet. Then after sitting quietly, I talk about this first. I've done this in the schools. Talk about this. Freedom, authority, beauty, love, all that we have been discussing. Then pick up your book. But you have learned much more here than in the book.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Therefore, the book shows what you follow?
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. The book is seen.
Book becomes a second-hand thing.
Yes. It's seen with a clean eye.
That's why, sir, I personally have never read a single book of all this. Neither the Gita, the Upanishads, all that. But what the Buddha has said, it somehow bored me. It meant nothing to me. What has meant anything was to observe. Observe the very poor in India. Observe the rich, the dictators, the Mussolinis, the Hitlers, the Khrushchevs and Brezhnev, all watch them in a politician. And you learn an awful lot. Because the real book is you. Do you understand? If you can read your book, which is yourself, you have learned everything, except the functional knowledge. So, when there is self-knowing, authority has no meaning. I won't accept. Why should I accept these people that bring truth from India? That's not truth they're bringing a tradition. What they believe. So, can the mind put away everything that man has talked or invented, imagined about religion, God, this and that? That means can this mind, which is the mind of the world, which is the mind of common consciousness, can that consciousness empty itself of all the things man has said about reality? Otherwise, you follow, sir?
Can't begin.
Not only begin, what do I discover? What other people have said? What Buddha, Christ, why should I accept them?
Well, the terrible thing is I'm not in a position to grasp whatever they said that was worthwhile until this occurs. This is...
So freedom, sir, is an absolute necessity.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But none of them say this. On the contrary, they say, freedom will come to you much later. Be in the prison for the rest of your life. When you die, you'll have prison. You'll have freedom. That's what they're preaching, essentially. So, can the mind, the heart, and all the storehouse in the brain be free of the things that man has said about reality? So that's a marvelous question, you understand, sir?
Oh, I do.
I was staying once in Kashmir, right among the mountains, and a group of monks came to see me, freshly bathed and everything, done all the ceremony and all that, had come to see me. And they said they had just come from a group of unworldly people who were super monks who are very high up in the mountains. And I said, they're totally unworldly. I said, what do you mean by that word, sirs? He said, they've just left the world. They're no longer tempted by the world. And they have this great knowledge of the world. And I said, when they have left the world, have they left the memory of the world? The memory, the knowledge which the world has made, you follow? Which the gurus have put together, the teachers. He said, that's wisdom. How can you leave wisdom? I said, you mean wisdom is bought through a book, through a teacher, from another, through sacrifice, torture, renunciation? You follow, sir, their idea? That is, wisdom is something you can buy from somebody else. Mm-hmm.
They went up the mountain with all this baggage.
Baggage, that's right. That's exactly what I said. All the baggage which you have put away, the world you have put away, but you carry their baggage. You follow, sir?
Oh, goodness me.
So that is really important thing to if a mind is really very serious, to find out what religion means. Not all this rubbish. I keep on repeating because that seems to be mounting, growing. But to free the mind from all the growth, accretions. And therefore, which means see the accretions, see all the absurdities.
It throws a very, very different cast on our word worldly.
Yes, that's just it.
They're going up the mountain in order to leave the world, but they're taking immense pains to take it with them.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they're doing when they go into the monastery.
Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. Goodness. Accretions, incrustations.
So can I come back and the mind be completely alone, not isolated, not withdrawn, not build a wall around itself, say, and then I'm alone. But alone in the sense that aloneness that comes when you put away all this, all the things of thought. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because thought is so clever, cunning. It can build a marvelous structure and call that reality. But thought is the response of the past. So it is of time. Thought being of time cannot create something which has no time. Thought can function in that field of knowledge, it is necessary, but not in the other. And this doesn't need bravery, it doesn't need sacrifice, it doesn't need torture. Just perception of the false. To see the false is to see the truth in the false. I don't know.
To see the false is to see the truth in the false.
Of course.
I must repeat that again. To see the false is to see the truth in the false. Mm-hmm.
And see what is considered truth as the false.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So my eyes are stripped of all the false. So that there is no inward deception whatsoever. Because there is no desire to see something, to achieve something. Because moment there is a desire to experience, to achieve, to arrive at enlightenment, all that, there is going to be illusion. Something desire has created. Therefore, the mind must be free of this pursuit of desire and its fulfillment, which we discussed previously. Understand what the structure of desire is. We went to talk about a great deal about that. So, comes to this point, can the mind be free? And free of all the things which are born of fear and desire and pleasure. That means one has to understand oneself at great depth.
It,
So I think we ought to, after coming up to this point, we ought to go very deeply again into the question of meditation.
yes.
Because religion, in the sense we are talking about, and meditation go together. That means religion isn't just an idea, but it's actual conduct in daily life. Your thoughts, your speech, your behavior is the very essence of religion. You understand, sir? If that doesn't exist, religion can't exist.
Exactly.
It's just words. You can go around spinning a lot of words, go to various circus tents, but that's not religion. So, after establishing that deeply in oneself, and the understanding of religion, in which then the next thing is, what is meditation? Because that is tremendous importance. Because meditation is something that's really, if it is understood properly, is the most extraordinary thing the man can have. Meditation is not divorced from daily life.
What was running through my mind was not mistaken, the root relation to the word medisthai, medeo.
Medeo is to think, to ponder, to go into.
But in Homer, it actually carries the idea of to provide for, in the sense of to care for. Very beautiful. It brings up the question that you raised earlier of true care.
Yes, sir.
That one is not meditating unless he is careful and caring.
Caring more than careful.
Yes. It's all there in the word, and we don't look. Won't have a look. Yes. Yes, please go on, please.
You see, when we have divorced conduct from religion, which we have, divorced relationship from religion, which we have, divorced death from religion, which we have, divorced love from religion. Because we made love into something sensuous, something that is pleasurable. Then religion, which is the factor of regeneration, disappears in man. And that's why we are so degenerate. And it is, from, if I may be very, unless you have this quality of a mind that is really religious, degeneracy is inevitable. Look at the politicians who are supposed to be the rulers, the guides, the helpers of people. They are degenerate. You will see what is happening in this country and everywhere. They are so corrupt and they want to bring order. They are so irreligious. They may go to church and Baptist or whatever they are, and yet they are really irreligious. Because they don't behave. So man is becoming more and more degenerate. You can see it, sir. Because religion is the factor that brings a new quality of energy. It's the same old energy, but it has become a new quality. So the brain doesn't degenerate. As we get older, we tend to degenerate. But it doesn't, because it is the freedom from every kind of security of the me has no place. You see, sir, that's why the priests throughout the world have made religion into something profitable. Both the worshipper and the intermediary. It has become a business affair. Intellectually business, or it has become really commercial. Not only physically, but inwardly, deeply. Do this and you will reach that.
Utilitarian to the core.
Which is commercial.
Yes.
And so, unless this put an end to, we are going to degenerate more and more and more. And that's why I feel so immensely responsible. Personally, tremendously responsible to the audience when I talk, when I go to the various schools in India. I feel I am responsible for those children. You follow, sir?
Yes, of course, I do. I certainly do.
I say, for God's sake, be different. Don't grow up like that. Look, I go into very, talk a great deal. And they begin to see, but the world is too strong for them. They have to earn a livelihood. They have to resist their parents who want them to settle down and have a good job, marry a house, all that business.
Well,
and
surely.
Public opinion, this overpopulation is much too strong.
The tremendous weight of that tradition of the 4 stages of life.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I said, let us find out if there are few elite, quote the word elite,
yes,
if I may use that word without any snobbery. Let's create a few. Really are concerned. Few teachers, few students. Even that becomes very difficult because most teachers they are not good at this or that and therefore become teachers. And you know what they are?
Oh, yes. Oh, dear, yes.
So everything, sir, is against you. Everything. The gurus are against you. The priests are against you. Business people, the teachers, the politics, everybody is against you. Take that for granted. They won't help you an inch. They want you to go their way. They've got their vested interest in all that.
Yes, I do see that. I do see that with clarity. In our next conversation, do you think we could explore the activity of meditation within the context of all this horror
yes,
that
we
we
will do
have
it.
described? Oh, that's wonderful. Yes.